Buckle up, sports fanatics. This is the Sports Chasers Podcast, your HQ for in-depth sports talk. Join host Kevin L. Warren and crew as they dissect the hottest stories, ignite debates, and bring you closer to the action. From locker room whispers to expert takes, we cover it all. It's game time, so strap in and grab a drink. The Sports Chasers Podcast starts right now.
Good evening, everybody. I should say good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Chasers Podcast. We're not live and direct, man, but this is being recorded here on a Monday, September 8th, 2025. Man, good to be here. Good to be alive today, man. Before we get into all of that, make sure you like, click, and subscribe to our channel. Make sure you hit the bells for the notifications. And for all those that's listening under the sound of my voice, make sure y'all give us that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that 5-star review. Love us or hate us. Let us know how we're doing. You guys are doing a phenomenal job of doing both. We encourage both, the love and the hate, because it's all the same thing. So keep it coming. Keep it grooving. We appreciate you on that. Today, we have a very special guest today, man. Guy, he's done it all as far as I'm concerned. He's done it all. And but we'll get into that today, and we'll talk about that. So before we start that, let me just give him, y'all know how I do. I love to give awesome introductions, I should say. So let me just mute my ESPN fantasy thing here. Shout out to fantasy football. Did well yesterday. Doing well. Should be finishing off my peoples tonight with a victory. So let's get into this. The interview sessions here. Today, I should say, we want to meet Mr. Pete Turner, a former U.S. Army counterintelligence agent turned master storyteller. With over 70 months in combat zones and 1,000 patrols across Afghanistan, Iraq, Bosnia, and beyond, Pete has lived the stories most only read about. Today, he challenged those experiences into the Break It Down show. Bids for the acronym folks podcast approaching its 10th anniversary with over 1,500 episodes. Pete interviews span from the Nobel Prize winners to gold medalists, but what sets him apart is his fearless dive into topics that mainstream media won't touch. That's why me and Pete connect, because you know how I feel about mainstream media, especially in the sports world. But let me go back to the introduction of Pete. From the Ukraine-Russia conflict to life lessons in politics, travel, and espionage. Beyond the mic, Pete dedicates himself to causes close to his heart, fighting PTSD, resisting awareness through Ride of the Brave with Save the Brave, and supporting ALS advocacy with Phil Green. With his mix of girl humor and humanity, Pete is often described as a modern blend of, get this, Charles Kuralt, P.J. O'Rourke, and Larry King. Larry King is actually alumni. Me and Larry King went to the same high school. Shout out to Lafayette High School in Brooklyn, New York, man. Hey, man, without further ado, man, let's meet our guy, our person for today, Mr. Pete Turner. Let me give him some applause. Look at that.
Thanks, man. Love it. Yeah, man, I love it. Thanks for having me on. You know, you and I talked before. We did a pre-interview and everything, but
yes,
I dig what you guys are doing here. It's not easy running a show. It's just to write your own stuff, to go. I appreciate it. And I appreciate all of you who are listening too. That for sure. Like and subscribe. That stuff is huge. I can't say enough things about, you know, how an audience can support a guy. And so I love talking about sports. And Kevin, I'm super stoked to be here.
Hey, man, I appreciate you, Pete, man. And first off, listen, my hat's off to you. Thank you for your service, my brother. Thank you for protecting us. Shout out to all those in the military and all the police officers, military police people, the teachers, firefighters. Shout out to all my civil servants that's holding it down. Thank you so much for keeping us safe and getting us to where you want to go. The bus drivers, the subway riders, and all that stuff. And I say this because I did some of those jobs and doing one now, man. So, but I'm podcasting also right now, and I love doing this. And like you said, Pete, this is not easy. You've been holding it down for 10 years. 10 years, man. Tell me about your journey and why did you get into podcasting?
But I came back and I was like, I think I'm done being in combat because it's a hard life. You know, like I realized I wasn't seeing my daughter grow up. I wasn't seeing my friends' kids grow up. I wasn't able to go out to Buffalo Wild Wings and watch games with my friends and, eat wings and stuff. I was missing out on all that stuff. And as though my job was exciting and cool as hell, I was like, I got to do something else. I got to evolve into a different person. And so I came back and I had a lot of stories because the crazy jobs I've had. And so I thought I'd just get into storytelling. And that's ultimately how I ended up here. Not a path you'd pick, not a path you'd predict, but here I am. And I'm like, wow, it's changed my life. It's changed my life for the better. It makes me want to be alive. It gets me. I don't get up from an alarm. I get up because I'm excited to do my day, and I'm blessed for that. So it's the storytelling thing is exciting to me, and I love getting to know people. Love getting to know you, and what else can you say? Is I'm very fortunate to be alive. I'm very fortunate to be able to do amazing things and constantly have my mind blown. Hopefully, blow the minds of my audience because this access, I try to share it with everybody.
Well, that's important, man. That you definitely do that, man. And like I said, shout out to you for doing this. Military. How long did you serve?
I was in the military, in the Army, 3 different ways. So grand total, including contracting time, about 17, 18 years, something like that. Yeah. And so I had a very unique path in that I stayed connected to the ground and I got to go do real stuff day to day outside the camp. And I wasn't on the planning side as much as I was on the action side. Okay. So I have a very unique career that was full of activity. And again, I pay the price a lot with my body for it, but it was a wonderful time. It's a wonderful time.
Got you, man. So, and y'all probably wonder, well, how do we make the sports connection here? And I'm glad you asked. As you can see, Pete has on his LA Dodgers hat. Pete, where you originally from, and what did sports do for you growing up?
I'm from California. I was up in the Bay, kind of by San Francisco, that area out there. And I was just a standard classic kid. In football season, I played football outside with my friends, played basketball all the time. Man, I was that kid that had different kinds of shoes in his car, like you get a hold of me. Yeah. Like, oh, yeah, I got my soccer cleats. Oh, yeah, I got my softball cleats. I got 7 different kinds of gloves. Like I got batting gloves, first baseman glove. I got a hockey glove. I had everything. And so if you wanted to get a game on somewhere, all you had to do was call, and I would get in my car or get my mom to drive me, or I'd run on my bike, whatever it was, and I would go down to wherever. And I loved sports coming up, and I was a bit of a spazzy kid. And so the more I played sports, the more I could kind of chill out in class. And by appearance, because all kids struggle with their appearance when they're young, but I didn't look like one of the cool kids. But I became physically capable because of sports. And it's changed my life in so many ways. I don't follow sports as close as I used to because I'm grown and I have other things to do now. But it's still every day is a day when I think about sports and do sports. And actually, I just took up, I don't make a big deal about this, but I just took up Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, trying once again to work on that part of my game. And that's, look, you can see my beard's gray, So I've learned a lot of tough stuff, a lot of fighting and all that kind of things. But this is going to be the next venture. I hope if my body will keep up. So, man, I've just always been an athlete. I always loved PE. I got college degrees. I always went to PE class during college and everything. It's kind of who I am, but I'm not a crazy fanatic fan though. I'm more of a cerebral fan.
Gotcha. Who'd you root for in the Bay when you was growing up in the Bay Area?
A's, so in the Bay, it's a little different than New York. You could root for the Giants and the A's. Whoever was doing better is who you showed your support for openly.
I was going to say, no, that never happens here.
No. I mean, and I lived in Chicago too, and I'm like, wait a second. What? Like, this is the crazy thing about Chicago is I live right across from Wrigley Field. So the wall across the street from my house was right field, right? So there. Yeah, and Cubs fans who love the Blackhawks, like all the rest of Chicago, who love the Bulls, they would root for their arch rival, the Cardinals, in a Cardinals White Sox World Series. And I'm like, you all know that the White Sox are from Chicago. They don't care. Like, there's those divides, and that didn't make sense in my California hippy dippy peaceful mind. I'm like, you can root for both. Like, like when I think about who I root for in the World Series, it's the team that hasn't ever won or the team that hasn't won in 50 years. I want those fans to have that shot of winning, And so even if the Dodgers lose, I don't care about that. Like, yeah, we won last year. It's great. But We're supposed to, and that's the norm. But if this year the Brewers and I don't know, the Tigers got together, and I'd be excited because one of those markets hasn't won in 30 years, and one has never won,
Brewers
or 40 years, 40 and never,
Yeah,
right?
Tigers last time they won was in '84, and the Brewers came into the league in '69 as the Seattle Pilots. So,
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. And the Brewers only went once, right? And so I'd love to see
St. Louis, correct? Yes.
Yeah. The beer World Series, right? Yeah. So that's sort of how I'm wired. And I know that that's not the norm, but I just like to see players do well. And I do my best to not root for anybody. When I watch the Olympics, I told you I follow track quite a bit. My brother, when he was alive, we would try to pick who would come in last, and we'd root hard as hell for that person, because they're still a world-class athlete. Right. They're the best athlete in their country in this position, and it was great. It was fun to just kind of pick that person and yell for them, even if they never knew it. Right. It was just our way of sort of celebrating the whole field instead of just like looking who's going to be first. First is great, but if you're ninth in the entire world, that's also great. Like, it's incredible.
Especially being a professional track athlete, as they put in a lot of work, man. They put in a lot of work. So shout out to them. I'll give you a personal. You talking about rooting there. So usually in New York, if you're a Yankees fan, you're a Giants fan, and you're a Rangers fan. And if you're a Mets fan, you're usually a Mets fan, Jets fan, because the Jets, once upon a time when they used to play at Shea Stadium, used to practice out in Long Island. So that's how we used to get out the Long Island fans, and those fans are New York Islanders fans. So that's how that usually works now. And I always tell people, I don't care if the Nets win the series. And I'm from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I don't care if the Nets do win the championship. The Knicks run the city. So that's just what it is, and that's how it gets down, man. Tell me your love for Formula One. Let's get into Formula One, man. I started watching the series on Netflix. It's amazing to me how these guys do. Go ahead, explain to our audience what is Formula One and how did you get into it?
Yeah, so they would tell you that it's the pinnacle of auto racing. That no series is harder to compete in, and that seems to be true. Does that mean that they can go win Baja 1000? Who knows, right? But the fastest laps on many of the tracks are done by Indy cars. By Formula One cars. And it's just an amazing, it's like peak of peak. Like, not only do you have to be good enough to just survive in the league, but you also, your team has to constantly improve. And so if your car isn't good enough, being midfield, you can have a lot of success. Like we're the 7th best team this year. If we can get to 5 next year, because you can't just go to the top. There's no worse to first in Formula One. It's just too hard and too competitive. And so the amount of variables and the science in it, and again, like me and my girl, we like to root for everybody. And so we try to find something positive from all these guys because they're doing something that it's just impossible. Like, we couldn't do it. We couldn't even drive the damn car, And it certainly wouldn't be. We'd be minutes slower when they were like 90 seconds, Right. So it's still like a very apexy sport where it's just not accessible. It's like trying to warm up somebody. We'll say Roger Clemens, right? Like trying to go catch him. Man, you couldn't. Randy, you can't catch these guys. Now you put in modern players though even faster. We can't even physically catch them. Like 99% of us can't do it. And so these guys are the same thing. And it's just neat to see the strategy and how different. So like one of the things in Formula One that's interesting is if you're in the back half of the 20 cars that are going to be there, you're just going to do the opposite strategy because sometimes luck plays in your favor. And you certainly can't do the same strategy as everybody ahead of you. So there's this varying approach to how to do the race. And they all end up in about the same spot. Like the last car is maybe 3 minutes behind the first car. And so it's just not much time. And you think about all the details you have to nail down to lose a race by 3 minutes. It's just remarkable.
Wow. That's like, so how long have you been following now? It's
a number of years. I've always kind of followed Formula One back in like the Michael Schumacher days in the 90s and everything. I was always sort of aware of it and knew about Ayrton Senna and all those characters. What really got me into it was I had an AFX slot car track, and it was branded on Formula One. And so that got me as a young kid, looking at guys like Jackie Stewart. And I was like, this is an amazing world. And so I started reading about, the races even back then. So I always had this bug, but as an adult now, I'm like, this is going to be one of the sports I pay attention to. And like all these sports, when you dig in, there's so much more there. And it's so compelling to see all the different tracks, all the different things that make that track complicated. Like pretty soon they'll be in Vegas, and that track is totally different than the track from the week before. And you just don't know what's going to happen. There's not a lot of variance in how the races end, but when there's something happens, kind of like in soccer when there's a goal and you're just like, yes, there's these moments in Formula One where you just can't believe what just happened.
Right.
And then the outcomes happen, and and there's no margin for error. So if you get a flat tire, you're done. You're done. You're going to the back of the field, and you're probably going to shut your car down for the day, because these cars are so fragile that, it's like a dragster. You take a dragster apart every race, and you rebuild it and put it back together. Same kind of thing. These things have to be rebuilt and maintained all the time. And so there's no margin for error. To me, it's a wonderful sport.
Have you been to, with that said, have you been to NASCAR?
I have been to NASCAR. Yeah. And that's a riot. Yeah.
Did you enjoy
I've
it?
actually raced on Daytona in my own race car at one point.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I was in this. I used to do this kind of discount racing, just like you and your buddies put a car together.
I told you.
We drove our car across the country. Yeah, it was awesome. And to be on those bank turns, but it's different. It's different when you're racing and it's your own money. And so, like, our car's really fast. We didn't win races because our car would break, but really fast. And so it was too wide, and my car. I was like, do I risk going 3 wide? Like, I want the moment. I want the image. No one's taking a picture of this, so it's not going to be like that. But do I risk me and my friend's car and go 3 wide? And our car is loud and fast, and so when it goes by someone, it can scare them. And we're in turn 3 going around, And so I'm like, nah, I kick it right here, because it's endurance racing. I got to survive. And so I didn't go around. I passed him shortly after that, but to put myself next to the wall, I've never been that close to the wall. Like, you make one mistake and you fuck up everybody's car. You can't do that. So it's But man, it's
I was getting ready to say, I lived in Charlotte, North Carolina for almost about 15 years, I should say. And I went to quite a few NASCAR events, and it's very different. Like I said, I'm from New York. I said, I'll go to a NASCAR event. I was extremely impressed how fast those vehicles go, and how loud Charlotte Motor Speedway was, but it still is. And it's just a phenomenon. I say, man, these cars are going like 200 plus miles an hour, man. And like you said, one little draft. I even understood some of the terminology and stuff by going. It was pretty dope going, and I respect what they do. I absolutely have an utmost respect to what the NASCAR guys do and the Formula One guys do. And I want to go to Formula One too. I'm down here in South Florida. I'm going to see if I can check out the race next February down here in Miami, man. So I can check it out, man. So it's definitely an eye opener, man. If y'all listen to the sound of my voice, go check out something new, man, that you never been. It was like, I don't get into NASCAR or Formula One. Check it out, man. You never know how you like it, man.
Yeah.
So that's good. Tell me about your podcast, man. So you've been on for 10 years.
Yeah. 2,000 plus episodes now, and it's crazy. It's crazy, man.
Hold on 1 second. I gotta give you some applause for that, man. This is not easy.
No,
this is not easy, and he's doing it by himself. At least I got a crew. He's doing it by himself, and he's had all these episodes, and this is not easy. And a lot of people, we heard, people in our field here with podcasting, we hear about the thing called pod fading. People think after like 5 episodes, you're gonna be making bundles of money. It doesn't work that way, man. You gotta build up an audience, especially if you are a regular person. You gotta build up an audience. Some celebrities and like our athletes and stuff like that, they got a leg up. They got money, they got backing, and by some of these great media corps. And so they head start. So I say to anybody, if you last past a year, I said continue to do it and love it, man. Once you don't love it, no, quit. That's my thing. That's your thing. What's your thoughts on that?
Man, you're right about all that. Like Mookie Betts has a podcast, right? So, in this world, you're competing with Mookie Betts. Good luck.
Right.
Good luck, right? But you can find your way to do it, and you should. Like, and if you don't enjoy it, don't do it. Go do something else. Go find a thing that you can do, and maybe it's play harmonica in your friend's cover band, and you love the hell out of that. That's all right. This isn't for everybody, and you shouldn't expect to make any money doing it. If you want to make money, go drive Uber for 4 years, build up $100,000, and buy a franchise. That's what you do if you want to make money. It's not easy, but it is a wonderful journey. I wouldn't trade it for a second. I'm so fortunate. I get to talk to all kinds of people. I often pack my bag. I got a backpack, and I put my studio in there, and I'll go to your house. And I'll sit down across from you, Kevin, and I'll do my show. Not always, but a lot of times it's like this, like we're doing here. But if I can, I go do it live, and it's amazing because now I'm at someone famous's house, for example, and I'm now their guest in their home. And so they're like, hey, what can I get you? Do you want a drink? Do you want some cookies? My wife made you cookies because she knew you were coming over, and that changes the vibe. And so now, fill in the blank famous person's wife is making me cookies, and it's like, man, and I'll tell you what, that happens all the time. And so I love it. It's a great experience. Make a little bit of money doing it, but the connections, the personalities, the opportunities, business opportunities that come out of it it's irreplaceable. It's my favorite thing to do is to come sit down and do these things.
I love the connection. It's funny you talk about that. I love the connection. I meet people all across this thing. Like I said, we've been doing this now. We 7 years in October, and just the connections of meeting people and doing it. And how we started out, man. We started, man. We didn't even have video. I forgot the name of the application. I forgot what it's called. But we did it totally on just audio. So I know people say, how did y'all do that? Yeah, there was an application where you just basically talk audio. And if you had guests, you would step it on and off. And we had 5-6 people on. So we was always stepping on. But then the pandemic happened, and, I discovered, I said,
things got better,
I said, everybody's meeting via Zoom and going to, doing this and going to court on Zoom, going to the doctor on Zoom. I said, well, let me see if I can do this. And lo and behold. Yeah. Just started connecting that. I said, okay, Zoom hooks up to YouTube. All right, boom. So it was definitely a phenomenon that started, man. And like you said, I wouldn't trade the journey for the world, man. I think it's great. Right. Some people poo-poo on podcasters. They say there's too many podcasters. Whatever, man. Yeah. Whatever. You just mad you just didn't start one, man. That's probably what it is, man. That's what I think,
Yeah. People will complain at me, or they make fun of me on X or something, and they'll say, "Oh, here's another podcaster." And I was like, if you had any idea who you're talking to and what they, and I don't big time them or nothing because I'm not big time, but my show is very successful. If you want to put my show up against anybody else's show, 99.9% of the shows aren't bigger, aren't better, aren't more established, aren't all these things. That don't matter. What matters is that I love doing it, and the people that watch it love it, and that's all that really matters to me is that we exchange this value of love and passion about things, and that's the key, right? So if someone wants to be dirty on my pod, you know what? Grow up, because you haven't even taken the time to care about what I'm doing. So you're insignificant in this whole equation. Don't dog someone's podcast, especially not if they have one that's successful. This makes you a clown. It makes you a silly person. And now it's like, oh, and then the people that know me are like, did you see that guy? And I'm like, yeah, who cares, man? Who cares?
But I don't got time for that. You know what though? As I said in my opening, we always open. I say, love us or hate us. Let us know how we do. Yeah, we appreciate you. Yeah, exactly. Because your vote counts too. Thank you. So let me go back to the Bay Area with you, Pete. The Oakland Athletics. Were you sad when? Well, first of all, from a guy that's on the outside looking in, who loves sports and everything, I think, my opinion, the owner of the Oakland A's, he's not a nice person. I'm just going to say it like that. I think he put the A's up to fail, and and that's why where they at. What's your thoughts on the Athletics moving and being in the circumstance that they're in? They're going to go to Vegas eventually, but
they're going to Vegas. They're building the yard. I'm not about that. The team has been great for a long time, and I go back to the 70s. I believe I saw Rick Anderson's debut game, so I've got deep roots with the A's, and I saw us not show up. I saw the A's put together a lot of winning teams. It's hard to find a franchise that's won more than the A's. The Yankees have, right? But there was a stretch of time when the Yankees weren't all that great, from the late 70s to the late 90s. It was hard to be a Yankees fan. You guys showed up.
Trust me, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we didn't do that. We didn't follow the team like. And look, it's not because necessarily because the fans are bad, but we have to be honest about this. Like the belief that you can't blame the fans. Oh, you absolutely can blame the fans, because if the fans aren't going to support a team, then the city itself, the government, like, they have to figure out how to fix that. The owners have to figure out how to fix that. And if they don't fix it, and because the fans are antagonistic or whatever it is, it becomes this unhealthy relationship. And the A's always had this challenging relationship. So a group of people here in the Bay Area started deciding late in the game that this current owner was the problem. But this guy wasn't even the boss. Like, he was the owner, but he had another guy running the club who was an owner, right? And so he took over in 2016 officially. Now, yes, he owned the team way back when, but these fans got poison in their head where they were taught certain things that just aren't true. You know, like that the league was against Oakland, that this was that. And so much of it is nonsense. And there's a lot of reasons why the A's left. One of the reasons why is because fans didn't show out. And then they thought that they could protest and antagonize and reject the A's and somehow keep the team. But that just poisoned the market even further. And so ultimately, here's what really happened. The A's and the Giants shouldn't probably have to share a market. You know, no other market that's smaller than that would you say, oh, it'd be a good idea to go put a second team in Arizona, you know, right there in Phoenix. Like, it's not enough people. Mm-hmm. And California is particularly nice. So the thing I always say is, like, in the Bay Area, you probably have more people on a boat than you have at either the A's or the Giants game, because there's a lot of nice things to do, and there's people on the water. There's a race car culture, and there's all these other things that you can do in California. It's not like the Midwest, where people are passionate about, like, oh, I follow Brandeis University and they're crazy. We don't have that kind of passion for sports like that. There's a lot of sports fans, but it doesn't work like it works in Chicago or New York or even Philly. I mean, if you put a second team in Philly, that team would struggle to carve out an existence, because all of a sudden it gets crowded. Because, you know, there's no difference between the two teams in New York, the team in Philly, the team in Baltimore, the team in DC. That's a lot of teams in a very small amount of space.
Right.
And so I just think it just wasn't a viable market. And you also got to realize this: for all this stuff about John Fisher, there are 4 teams that had to leave their city in the last a little more than 10 years now, right? But the Niners had to leave San Francisco, and they had voted to build a ballpark, but they couldn't. And so the Niners are now in Santa Clara. That's still the Bay Area. But it's 45 minutes away. What's that?
Why they couldn't build?
Because we got people. Everybody has rights in the Bay Area. You can go out and stand in front of a judge and say, I don't think they should build this thing. And then they do that enough until that it's like, hey, we're not going to. It's too hard. It's too hard. The Giants almost left. They had finished the season as if they were going to go, and the city government in San Francisco managed to help them find a new ownership group, help them. The league helped as well, and they got a yard approved. You know, it was amazing. They also signed Barry Bonds, and he's probably the greatest free agent ever, and he just continued to produce. But even that was hard, and the A's didn't catch any of those breaks. You know, the A's, they lose to the Dodgers, never should have lost. They win, they beat the Giants, but the earthquake takes away all the shine from that World Series, and then they lose to the Reds. Like those 3 blows were they changed that franchise.
The 1990. And then
and then we quit showing up. We signed Mark McGwire the year that the Giants signed Barry Bonds, and Mark McGwire just wasn't very good for the next couple of years. He hit the hell out of the ball, but he didn't really play, so he couldn't put the franchise on his back as a business. And we just quit going. We quit going. And so it was just, it's too simplistic, and it's too easy to say we hate the rich guy. But the Bay Area loves that. The Bay Area would rather, this is just true, they'd rather protest a billionaire than go support a great A's team that's going to be competitive and go to the playoffs.
Well, I appreciate your insight about that. What about Golden State? I mean, the Warriors, who left Oakland and went across the bay to downtown San Francisco, where they built them a wonderful palace. And that probably, and maybe I might be going on a limb, that doesn't happen if they don't win all those championships. If Steph Curry and all the boys was there, you think?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this: that's the second location in San Francisco. They had another one picked out, but it wasn't going to work, you know. And so these people had to work together. The city, the fans, and everything else. And I'll be honest about the Warriors. I was a Warriors fan. I'd go to Warriors games and be like, where is everybody? Where is everybody? Even when they were good, right? We just weren't a good, compared to what the good fan bases look like, right? We just didn't do that very well. And enough times. The Niners did a great job. You had a season ticket wait list, all that kind of stuff. Raiders fans were certainly passionate. But across all the sports, like, do you think of the Sharks as packing the house? No, because they don't. No. And even when they're good, it's like, we can't sell out of 20,000 or 25,000, however big, that the SAP Center is. We can't sell that place out reliably.
That's where the Sharks play at?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I don't go to, I don't really follow hockey enough to know, but yeah, right. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, but they don't sell that place out. They're going to update it and everything else. And here's the other funny thing is they're going to spend some money updating this place, but they didn't want to do that for Oakland, for the A's, right? And so we struggle with the political environment is such that it's very hard to do these things. And then if the people in the government aren't capable, all of a sudden you have this impossible problem to solve. So even if the owner is crappy, there's always other problems. The fans aren't showing. You don't drive revenue. Right now I'm watching the Jerry Jones Dallas Cowboy documentary.
I am too. Yes.
Yeah, and Jerry's like, man, we were almost out of money. And it's true. Like, these guys need people to show up, and so when it works out and they show up, yeah, you can improve the team and you can invest in it. But it is a business. And if the turnstiles aren't spinning, if jerseys aren't being sold, it's tough to do business. When you go to market and you're trying to sell the name of the stadium and it's all discount brands, and that's tough for business. Like the Yankees have a partnership with Adidas. That makes money. The Dodgers are partnered with
for years.
All kinds of things, right? And so it's easier to make money and it's hard to get over the top, but you don't have to worry about packing Dodger Stadium. They'll put 4 million people in that building. My buddy DJ Severe, who's their DJ, he is the most listened to live DJ in the world because the Dodgers put on a good product and the fans come running to the ball yard. And they don't look, it's expensive to go to a Dodger game. It's expensive to go to a Yankees game. But for the most part, we know that and we go because there's an agreement there. The Yankees are in a way better position than the A's. The A's, if they try to charge more, even if the team is good, the fans don't show. And so it's this mix of things that it's not just John Fisher's fault. It's how do you fix this thing? Well, let's go to the sports and entertainment capital of the world. Let's go to the corner of Trop and the Strip. Let's build a yard there and fill that place. And as soon as that happened, here's the thing, right? Like maybe John Fisher's made mistakes. He certainly has. But he's not the worst owner in sports. He had probably the hardest problem to solve in sports. And it turned out he had to leave to do it because now that he's left, man, that yard's jumping up. They're building it. And in a city where they are a great business partner and you can't, 40 million people a year go to that 2 mile long strip, 40 million. So they'll be all right. They'll fill that place and they'll get paid all year long because here's what they couldn't do in Oakland. The Coliseum used to be a premier venue for all things, 100%. Monster trucks, yes. Concerts, everything, right? That place is dead as hell now. Now, look, sometimes like Pink might go play the arena, right? But they don't have that buzz that they have. I just went and saw Shakira at SoFi. Man, she packed that place. There's probably 80,000 people in that building. I don't know. It's a ton. 65,000 at least, right? Beyonce came. She played that play. She didn't play Oakland. Beyonce's not playing Oakland. Shakira's not playing Oakland. They couldn't, if they tried, they couldn't book those elite things because Oakland, as the city, hasn't invested in their property. Their arena is just as old as the stadium. Can you imagine if the original Garden was still around? You're trying to put Billy Joel in that place for 5 years straight? Wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen. You can't.
Billy Joel has people that don't know. Billy Joel has a residence at Madison Square Garden. He absolutely does.
Yeah.
For the longest. So you talk about SoFi. I know we're on this, and I'm fascinated. We always talk about sports and business on our show. I'm fascinated. The Rams. Do people in LA care about football like that? I know the Rams just won the Super Bowl a couple of weeks. The Rams, they had this story. They was the LA Rams at first. Well, excuse me, they played in I believe LA, and then they moved to St. Louis. And they fleeced St. Louis for like 20 years. St. Louis borrowed the Rams for 20 years, and then they couldn't get a stadium deal done, and they moved back to LA with this problem. Stan Greinke, he got this thing with the building the stadium. Then they told, the Chargers, hey, y'all come join us. People really care about football like that in LA?
You know, I kind of, well, I definitely quit the NFL a while back. I couldn't do it anymore. So I'm not the best person to ask, but I will tell you this. There are enough people here that care enough about football that there is a pretty good following. Is it like the Giants in New York? No.
Gotcha.
No. Right. Is it like, I don't know, is it like the Cowboys? No. But there's enough people that you can get there. And I'm not saying they're not passionate, but it's not the same. Packers, come on. Like, no, it's not like that. Right. So they can have a good business and there's a good place to run a business, but it's that we don't, in general, in California, we just don't. And look, and I'm being really unfair to a lot of people who love their team and are passionate. But when you see what the Packers fans do and how well they travel, no.
Still a fan, yes.
Answer to that's no.
Yeah, still a fan. Yeah, you're right, man. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Like, can I compare Steelers fans all over the nation to Chargers fans? No.
No.
No, right? Just being honest. Some fan bases are better than other fan bases. And sometimes that it churns, right? It churns. Because when your team is not running well, you don't. Are Pirates fans better than A's fans? Probably not, because they the A's fans are probably better than the Pirates fans, even as bad as the A's fans are right now because we're lost. These things matter, like how supportive is that team? I remember when the Cardinals wanted to get their new yard, the baseball Cardinals, and they were having trouble because it's hard to figure these stadium deals out and they haven't always been beneficial. And when they fail, it's horrible, right? And St. Louis is like, yeah, no thanks, we're not going to do it. And so I don't know if you remember this, but the Cardinals were like, you know what we're thinking? We're going to move just west of the river and build it in Illinois. And all of a sudden, St. Louis is like, hold on a second. We found some money. And they built a new yard, right? The Cardinals have paid off.
I hear you in some aspects. Here's my thing sometimes with that. I have a problem sometimes with billionaires asking to build everything. Y'all gotta bring some to the table.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Back in, I'm still living in New York. Back around after 9/11 happened, the Yankees and Mets, they both played in aging stadiums, and they, Giuliani at the time told them, he said, guys, I don't have money to get y'all, man. I said, what just happened? And the Yankees and the Mets had to pony up majority of the money to build the second rendition of Yankee Stadium and Citi Field. And that's my problem I have with city government, stuff like that. When I lived in Charlotte, the Charlotte Coliseum was barely 20 years old when I moved there. And they said, hey, man, we need to bring, that was the time when they was trying to build new arenas down in the downtown area. The people in Mecklenburg County voted no, including me. No, I says the owner needs to pay it.
Yeah.
So we said no, and he moved the team to New Orleans. All right, I'm fine with that. They brought it back, and then guess what they did? They still built the stadium. So that's my problem I have. I understand that they got to make money. They got to make it's a business and all that stuff, man. But like you said, you fleece the people, the patrons of with some of these bad business deals, and I just don't think it's right in comparison.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with you on that. We've gotten better at how to do these things, but the public shouldn't just give up all that money and then if the team leaves, now what are you left with, right?
Yeah, you're left holding the bag.
Yeah, and paying for that bag for the entire time. And so it is a hard thing, right? I'm completely I agree with you. This is tricky business. We have gotten better at figuring out how to do it. And like in the case of John Fisher, he's taken a small percentage from the public funds. And by the way, if there's a town where it don't matter, it's Vegas because they pump so many people through there. You'd rip a dollar out of everybody. All of a sudden, you paid for that entire thing in 10 years,
Right.
And so it's a different thing there. But like in Miami, with that new ball yard there, the Marlins yard, that's a disaster. They're never going to fix that.
Nobody goes. It's a beautiful place.
No,
I've been there quite a few times. I go when the Yankees are in town. I'm able to find my seat.
Right. Yeah. And this is the thing about the balanced schedule. It's like, hey, we all need the Yankees to come to town, for 6 games or whatever many games it is, right?
3.
We all need the Dodgers. The teams that travel well, they want to spread that around because the other teams are like, we need this help. It's hard for the smaller teams to compete with. Yeah, and so that's one of the reasons why it's not for parity. It's to drive revenue to these other teams. Like, hey, we got to when the Sox travel, the Red Sox travel well, they just do, right? So, now all of a sudden of your 80 games, you got a third of them where it's like, well, the Dodgers are coming. We're going to be fine, whoever it is. And not all the teams travel that well, but Braves do. Cubs certainly do. And so if you can get everybody to come through, it makes it a little easier for that team to have that baseline, because guess what? When the fans don't come to the games, it's expensive. When you charge a full freight $25 a beer like they do at a lot of the stadiums, that's what it costs to drink beer at a stadium. That's what it costs to keep the lights on and keep things going. So we can always spend someone else's money and go and draft the perfect person and everything else. But the reality is they're trying to figure it out, and that shit's hard. It's not easy. It's not gentle. And yeah, it's tough. So I totally get what you're saying. I mean, the Braves are on their third yard in the last 30 years. The Rangers are on their third yard in the last 30 years. And if they know how to make that, if they want to invest in it, that's great. But it's hard to ask a populace to continue to pay for things like stadiums when they're still trying to get ambulance service out to some places.
Right. And going back to my first original point about Oakland, and I absolutely keep my ear to the street because of what I do for a living, my premier gig, how they're suffering with crime and stuff like that. And all that stuff matters. That stuff matters in the scope of doing business with a city and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So if things are not up to par with that, some of that stuff they absolutely will lead to better pastures and things. It's just what it is. So
baseball, football, that's luxury items, right? And if you got enough money that you can dip into the public coffers, Oakland can't do that. And when Oakland does get business, like their port, they have a port there. It's obsolete. So to build that port bigger, they got to go and tear down a bunch of stuff. And what we're not good at in California is progress when it comes to building. We lock in and we won't change things. And there's this active lawsuit going on now, and Oakland City is going to lose this thing, right? And they're going to have to go bankrupt if they do. They can't pay their bills. But there was this guy who's like, I've got this terminal. I want to run coal through it, and I'm going to ship it out. I'm going to pay you guys fair money to do this thing. And then as they get to Oakland, residents said, no, you're not. There's global warming, and we're not going to be part of contributing to that stuff. So stuff it. And now they're in court, standing in front of the man. And if the man slams his gavel down and says, Oakland, you lose, Oakland has no answer for that, right? And that's not me being, I'm from Oakland. I'm not dogging Oakland, but they don't manage their house well. And if you got a big, complicated city like that and you can't drive revenue, well, I'm not talking baseball. I'm talking city, right? If you can't drive revenue, then you can't afford a luxury like a baseball team or a football team or a basketball team. You can't do it.
You absolutely cannot. Nope. If you can't afford the one play for cops, teachers, and firefighters, stuff like that, basic service, 911 service, all that stuff costs. And it's what you said. That's an essential thing that's needed. So public safety and teaching and stuff like that. So let me go to this other thing here, Pete, from one of your things. You spoke openly about PTSD and the tragic loss of your brother. Sorry, your loss for your brother for suicide. How has that shaped your mission with the Save the Brave?
So I don't work with Save the Brave anymore. We want different things, and so I work in different avenues. I got to update that part of my bio. I got to figure out where that bio came from.
Okay, well.
But yeah, I mean, it's a big deal, right? Like I have my own PTSD. I have my own suicidal ideation that I deal with, because combat is hard on people and it's hard on our minds and it breaks us. And so I continue to work in that space in a way that makes sense. I'm one of the people that people call when someone dies, or when they have a family member who's a veteran. They're like, I'm going to call Pete because he'll help, And so I still serve. I just serve in a very visceral way where families are in crisis and they've got a veteran who's the drugs because of, they haven't figured out how to care for themselves in a way that makes sense. Like all people, we're a hard lot to care for. We're stubborn. We try to be tough and all these things. And it's hard. I know guys who are, this is a good example here. So a guy I know, it's an Army guy, was shot and killed in Iraq. He was dead for 15 minutes and they brought him back. And now he's alive. Lives in Las Vegas, right? And I was talking to him and I'm like, what's your disability rating at? And he said, oh, it's like 40. And I'm like, dude, you were dead. You died for 15 minutes. And the government doesn't want to give you because they don't even know all the things that are wrong with it still to this day. And the psychological damage and everything of being dead. So he wasn't even 100%. And I was like, hey, man, you got to go get that fixed. That you've got to get protected, because if anything happens, they have to say that wasn't us, force them to say it. So we have these things, and I'm compelling this person to do the thing that's the most obvious thing in the world. If you're on the outside looking in, like, what do you mean a guy who died and came back from the dead from 15 minutes? You're telling me that the Army doesn't want to own 100% of his disability? Yeah. And so, but that's how we fight. We're like, no, I'm good. I don't want to take that from somebody else. No, man, that's yours. It belongs to you. They sent us to war. Everything that happens is on them. And so this is the part that I have to fight for, is to get us to go out and do what we're supposed to do. And when Congress complains because it's too expensive, we go point at the contractor. It's like, you sent us to war. You said if we go to war, you're going to take care of us. Well, I'm broken, and now you have to pay up. There is no too expensive. You decided to send humans into a combat zone. You're going to break them. You know that. That's what it costs. And so that's what I try to fight for now, is like to get us to sign up to protect ourselves, because as we get older, we don't get more and more healthy. You know, we get more and more broken. And we go to places with chemicals and fires and smokes, and we breathe all that stuff in, just like the firefighters from New York, you know, and after 9/11, who got sick. You know, we're in the same kind of boat.
Nah, definitely, man. And sometimes with politicians, man, unfortunately, man, they are, how can I say this very nicely? They think very differently sometimes. Not all. I know some politicians. Yeah. But you know, things like that. And what I find funny, you know, after a few years of serving, maybe a 2-3, you know, they get health care for the rest of their lifetime.
It's a pretty sweet gig.
Yeah. Just saying. It's a person who has put their life on the line for the country, and we can't even look after for them, for their mental well-being, for their physical well-being. I have a absolute problem for that. So thank you for your service in that, Pete.
Thanks, man.
And champion for that, man, because that's important. That's definitely important. And
thanks, man.
You know, we have a lot of, like you said, first responders and those that's former military that, you know, unfortunately, like you said, PTSD is real. Mental health is real, and there's a lot of people that's, you know, contemplating stuff like that. So those that are looking out for our people, man, very much appreciated, man.
Yeah.
Last thing, Pete. What's the legacy? What's the legacy that you want to leave behind here?
Man, I just want to invest in the joy and the fulfillment of people around me. You know, you get like caught up. I'm not the oldest guy on the road, but I'm 55. I've got friends that have dropped dead now, right? Like, that's just the reality of life. And so rather than say, I only see you at funerals, I want people to say, hey, do you remember that time when we can't even remember which time it is, because we've gone out and had those great nights so many times now. We don't got to get all crazy anymore. We've kind of passed all that, but I just want to help people fill their lives with joy. Like, get off the couch and take your girl to the symphony. It's the best thing ever, right? And I'm saying symphony, but just go do stuff. Go see F1, whatever it is. Get out of your house and go enjoy life, because these enriching things, these moments, are what you're going to hold on to. You're not going to hold on to, hey, we spent the night on the couch watching the Cowboys documentary. You know, like, yeah, you got to do some of that, but get out of the house and go do things. Go learn all these amazing things that are going on. Talk to incredible people, because that enriches life. And that's what I'm trying to do, is just trying to help people enrich their lives. And if they want to, they can. And hopefully I'll be a mechanism for that. But that's my legacy, is just how do we enrich one another's lives, become great conversationalists, listen and share and all those things. That's what I want to do, man.
Man. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, he is Mr. Pete Turner.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Yeah, man. And by the way, go Yankees. I hope you guys find the groove and get deep into the playoffs. I root for everybody to have a great postseason. And look, 29 teams are going to lose. We're going to have our hearts broken, right? But you guys are a great team. It's a great legacy. Every time you guys are around, the party is better, because Yankees, and they're awesome.
Hey, man, same as the Dodgers, man. The Dodgers, with their extensive career dating back to the years in Brooklyn, and they never could beat the Yankees back in the 40s and 50s. And now it looks like in the you know what, they lost in '81 series. The Yankees lost to them 4-2, 4 games to 1, I think. And then we faced them last year and we lost again. So well, no, I'm sorry.
I think it was 4-2 in '81. I think it was 4-2. Hey, do you want to hear my favorite Yankee story?
Go ahead, Pete.
You've never heard this story. It's really happened. Okay, so my buddy Phil, he's passed on, but he had ALS. And so he was the guest of honor a couple years back when the Yankees played at Dodger Stadium on June 2nd. That's ALS Day. So he was there, and I was there, and one of his friends, and we were all there. And he got to go into the Yankees clubhouse tunnel and talk to Garrett Cole and Aaron Judge. And Phil's a big dude, big strapping dude. He played on the 93, I think 91 champion Washington football team, right? So he's a big guy. Okay. And he's got his chair, and he's talking to Aaron, he's talking to Garrett Cole. And Aaron Judge says this, swear to God, this is true. Aaron Judge says to him, I'm going to hit you 2 home runs today. And Phil and him, and it was great, right? Phil got a little teary-eyed and everything. Here's the one problem. Aaron Judge didn't hit 2 home runs that day. Mookie Betts did. And this is not a Dodger fan jabbing a Yankees fan. Right. Mookie Betts hit 2 home runs. The very next day, do you know what happened to Aaron Judge? That's right. Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig came and collected his toe and said, you're going to run into this fence and you're going to sit your ass down for 2 months. When you promise home runs, you deliver, Mr. Judge. And so they sat him down. Isn't that crazy? I mean, look, obviously that ghost thing didn't happen.
I remember that.
But that's a cost, right? And so he didn't pay the cost, and sucked. And that ruined the Yankees season. I mean, that took him down. So if you tell people you're going to hit home runs, no matter who you are, you got to do it. You got to pay.
Yeah, he lost for a couple of seasons, and he wasn't right. He didn't play the field right. I told you that infamous 5th inning in game 5 that pretty much did it for us.
Yeah.
You know, we forgot it was Little League out there, man. I was like, Dad, they don't run the pitcher doesn't cover first, Cole didn't cover first. You know, things change. Who knows? We probably go to game 7, man. But it wasn't so. Dodgers were the best of the best, and they're looking kind of suspect this year, man. But they'll be
that's all right. That's all right. I'm really rooting for the Brewers, man. I really am. I want to see the Brewers go deep. They're a good team. They got a lot of great players. So
been a good team the last two years, man. And they're the best of the best. So hopefully they can make some noise in the postseason, man, and do their things, man. So definitely, man. Pete, we're gonna get out of here. Don't you go nowhere. Listen, make sure you Pete's podcast. I will have the link in the description. Pete, where can the people find you at?
Just Pete A. Turner on X, probably the easiest place. Pete A. Turner on YouTube, nice and easy. If you want to get a hold of me, you can always Pete@breakitdownshow.com. Send me an email. I'm glad to talk to you.
And he's the host of the Break It Down podcast, man. Over 1,500 episodes. That's phenomenal. So make sure you check out Pete and his stories, man. He has a bunch of stories. And hey, we'll be getting out of here, man. Listen, on behalf of myself, I'm Kevin Owan, your host and moderator for our guest today, Mr. Pete Turner, man. Yo, this is the Sports Chasers podcast. Pete, don't go nowhere. Be good, be great. We'll catch you in the next time. Talk to you later. If I can get this going. Take care. Peace.
That's a wrap for today's episode of the Sports Chasers podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast platforms, and connect with us on all social media channels for exclusive content and updates. We'd also love for you to join the conversation, share your thoughts, and become part of the Sports Chasers community. And remember to tune in next time for some more real sports talk. Until then, stay frosty.